Traditional gardening often feels like an endless loop. You pull the weeds, water the dry dirt, till the beds, plant the seeds, and by the next weekend, you have to do it all over again. This cycle happens because the traditional method actively fights nature. Leaving soil bare is an open invitation for weed seeds to take over, and running a tiller through the dirt chops up the natural structure, destroying its ability to actually hold on to water. But there is a different approach, rooted in permaculture. It operates on a simple philosophy. If you set up the right systems, the designer eventually becomes the recliner. Instead of spending hours every week managing a rigid set of chores, you invest that physical effort on day one. You build the architecture of the garden up front and then let it run itself. To build this kind of autonomous garden, you need to stack 3 specific functional layers: a self-managing soil foundation, an automated hydration system, and a self-renewing plant network. This system stacking approach replaces isolated chores with a self-regulating ecosystem. The first step is retiring the tiller. We replace it with methodologies known as no-dig or back-to-Eden gardening, which mimic the natural buildup of a forest floor. This animated cross-section shows how the physical layers stack up. You smother the existing grass or weeds with cardboard. Then you add a thick layer of high-quality compost and top the entire bed with several inches of wood chips. This dark, heavy blanket blocks all sunlight, preventing the old weed seeds below from ever germinating. Over time, these organic materials break down and decay. As they do, they constantly feed the soil food web. Vegetable roots can easily push right through the softening cardboard, reaching deep down to access a rich, self-replenishing supply of nutrients. You can see exactly what this looks like at scale here. These raised planting mounds are built entirely on thick layers of mulch and compost, requiring zero mechanical tilling to maintain their structure. By simply stacking organic matter and leaving it alone, you effectively eliminate the need to pull weeds, and you cancel out the need to buy and apply synthetic fertilizers. With the soil locked in, we can solve the daily chore of manual watering by automating the hydration process entirely. For a single raised bed, you can build a DIY self-wicking system. This cutaway reveals how it works. The bottom of the box is sealed with a pond liner, then filled with a perforated PVC pipe, surrounded by a base of gravel, all sitting completely hidden beneath the soil. You fill that hidden reservoir with a hose. Through a physical process called capillary action, the soil acts like a sponge, pulling water upward from the gravel directly to the plant roots. The top of the soil stays completely dry, and the plants have enough stored water to drink for days without any human input. If you have a larger property or built-in irrigation, you can step up to a macro-scale solution, smart sprinkler controllers. These devices connect to your local Wi-Fi and pull real-time weather data. If a rainstorm is predicted for your specific zip code, the system skips the scheduled watering. If a drought hits, it automatically increases the output. Whether you use low-tech sub-irrigation boxes or high-tech weather tracking, pairing these systems with your thick, moisture-retaining soil completely removes human memory from the watering equation. The final hurdle is the planting itself. Every spring, most gardeners buy new seeds, prep the beds, and replant the exact same annual vegetables all over again. We can bypass this routine by planting perennial vegetables. Crops like perennial kale, Caucasian spinach, and bunching onions don't die off in the winter. They go dormant and pop right back up out of the soil year after year. This side-by-side scale comparison shows why this matters structurally. Because annuals only live for a few months, they have shallow, temporary root systems. A perennial vegetable, on the other hand, spends years developing a massive, deep root network, making it highly resilient against extreme weather and insect pests. You can organize these long-lasting crops using what is known as the one-guild method. A guild is a small, cooperative community of plants. You start with a central tree or large shrub and surround it with specific companion plants that naturally share soil nutrients, attract pollinators, and repel pests for one another. By abandoning isolated annuals for these interconnected perennial guilds, you establish a biological system where your harvest actually increases in volume and variety every year, while your planting effort drops to zero. When you stack a no-dig soil foundation, automated hydration, and perennial plant guilds, you elevate a standard garden patch into an engineered micro-ecosystem.
The soil holds its own carbon, the technology manages the watering schedules, and deep-rooted plants yield food continuously. Upending the way you garden can sound overwhelming, but this setup does not require redesigning an entire property in a single weekend. The best way to begin is to start small. Set up one raised bed, plant one perennial guild, and install one automated watering system. By investing in intelligent design on day one, you hand the heavy lifting back to nature, leaving you to simply walk out your back door and harvest.